All right. Sleeping last night, and like I had this feeling that my ex-wife was a blessing because she gave me kids. I spent 34 years of my life with an eye disease that caused me to have a yellow haze in my vision, and that yellow haze made me start hallucinating around puberty, and it got worse when I started doing drugs. So I was fucking like mirroring mental illness after I started getting locked up. I didn't know why I was hallucinating. I mean, I wasn't on the hallucinogens anymore. So I figure if you're not on hallucinogens, you shouldn't be hallucinating. But like I said, around puberty, that yellow haze started getting really prominent, and the drugs just made it worse. When I was like 14, I think it started around age 12 is when I started worrying about other things that were like not reality. And my inability to get diagnosed properly with dissociated vertical deviance and getting my strabismus surgery, which I had on Tuesday this week, 4 days ago, ruined my life because like they kept giving me medications and saying, oh, this will help your thoughts, this will help your hallucinations, and none of it ever did. Like thank God my ex-wife was actually able to carry me somewhat of my life and give me kids, because otherwise I may not have kids. I mean, I may not have got cured. Like if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have started going to college and talking about spiritual psychology and analytical psychology, even though it scares her. And I'm sorry that she thinks I'm violent, but I have no intentions on being a violent person. I don't really like beer. I don't even think I want to smoke weed, because I wanted weed because I was in pain from having arthritis in my spine. But then I found a natural root powder called Kratom that it takes away my pain totally. Like I've been in pain for 10 years and nothing I've ever taken, even marijuana, has taken my pain completely away. But Kratom has. And it doesn't get me a head high. It's just, it helps with anxiety. It relaxes me. My body doesn't hurt at all. And I just take a couple teaspoons in the morning with some warm water and sugar as a tea. So now that I'm not in pain, I don't really want to get fucking retarded high and all that shit, because marijuana just makes you stupid. I'm in college. I want to do things with college that are new ideas. I want to change psychiatry and all that. So, you know, getting high every day is not going to help me get to there. You know, getting higher for people that write songs every day, because who can't write songs while they're high? I mean, but, you know, I can't really study and try to get good grades if I'm getting stoned all the time. Alcohol, I highly doubt I'll drink much more than a beer or two here or there, because, like, I'm not in pain. That's why I was drinking beer after the divorce, was because I fucking hurt. Like, I lost my health when I got divorced. So that was good that, you know, I got married to her, even though she may hate me now. She may think that I want to be violent because of my past. Apparently, I was violent because I was saying weird things. But Marshall Mathers says weird things. Tech Nine says weird things. DMX says weird things. Lots of rappers say weird things, and, you know, they're not violent. The only reason I think I was possibly violent was because I didn't know what was wrong with my eyes, and psychiatry wouldn't help me. If they would have diagnosed me properly with my eye disease and got me the surgery in time, I possibly might still be married, or I might not have even met her. I don't know. Because I started psychiatry and going to mental hospitals at age 18 and did not meet her until I was 20. It's unfortunate that psychiatry failed me, and I ended up having to drink liquor to help my thoughts, because I didn't know what was going on. I don't know why there weren't special tests done. I don't know why they didn't do blood tests to find out if I had too much dopamine or not enough melatonin or not enough serotonin, or other neurotransmitter tests done by a simple blood test to find out, yeah, you're schizophrenic. This blood test proved it. But they were unable to do those tests because apparently drawing blood from my body and testing it for a neurotransmitter is too much fucking work. So, whatever. I mean, God bless her heart. She actually helped me, like, probably when I needed it the most. And then after I had the kids, and the kids were like 5 and 6, she realized that I had the ability to do whatever I had to do by myself. It's unfortunate things have turned out to the events of court that they have, because like, I'm not a bad dad. I'm not a bad husband. I was just fucking misdiagnosed. My apologies. Blame psychiatry. So don't blame the alcohol. The alcohol was the only thing that was helping me with the hallucinations. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can still say weird things, but I'm on the outside looking in, and that's just a recall of memory. Is gone still. So thank you, I guess, and I'm sorry that we got trapped into this weird sick psychiatry misdiagnosis thing in my life. I mean, it had to have been harder on me because I was the person that had the problem. Like, this wasn't a mental illness. My glands were working fine. I'm not on medication now. I'm sleeping. I'm not hallucinating. So, like, yay. But at what cost did that cost me? And how am I going to get anything? Like, I deserve something. I deserve compassion. Is that the word I'm looking for? Compassion. I deserve people to feel sorry for me, kind of. Like, I'm sorry, but like, this wasn't my pineal gland or my hypothalamus producing too much or not enough neurotransmitters to, you know, do any of that. It just, that wasn't the case. Like, I asked my doctors a couple months ago. I was like, "Oh, just do a blood test then. Just prove to me I have too much dopamine being produced by my pineal gland," and they wouldn't do it. They looked at me like, we're just going to diagnose schizophrenia and bipolar off of a pure fucking guess off of behavior and conversation skills by what criteria is. Well, if you can do a fucking blood test to prove I'm schizophrenic, then why wouldn't you fucking do that? Instead of sitting here telling me that, oh, you act like a schizophrenic. So what? You want me to act like a schizophrenic on my next video? That doesn't mean I am. I could act like a schizophrenic. I could act like I'm bipolar. So what? Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's a medical problem causing you to act that way. Hey, look at that. I got eye surgery. Problem fucking solved. I'm now no longer hallucinating and stuck in a yellow haze. So thank God my ex-wife had kids with me. So I was like, if it wasn't for the kids, I would probably be dead. I don't know how that's going to turn out in my life. I have no fucking clue. But like, at least finally, 34 years into my life, I fixed my problem with a simple fucking surgery. And I can try to be clever all day long about any of my analogies or shit that I've talked about, but really when it comes down to it, the cleverest I can be is by saying I can't see my ears and eyes right now. That's it. Like, I'm sorry to disappoint people, but I can't be any more clever than that. You know, being weird doesn't really help anybody out. Well, although you pay musicians and TV shows millions of dollars to be weird and say weird shit, and it just kind of pisses me off because, like, I'm pretty good at being weird if I want to be, or I was. Now that the hallucinations aren't current, I'm able to not get trapped into that mind frame of wanting to talk about it. So I'm sorry you had to live with me and deal with these hallucinations. I'm sorry you were tricked into thinking I was schizophrenic and bipolar. You know, and thank you for giving me children. And I hope one day that we can put all this behind us and just be civil adults about the situation. Because we all know I'm never getting my family back. That's been tainted. We know that. And I really don't care. As long as I can have good relationships with my children so they don't end up fucked up like my family was. My parents didn't do any good by fighting all the time. You know, I don't really feel how I'm going to be doing any good by fighting. So, my apologies. So, like, my bad. Just know that I never told anybody anything about anything that you may think is like, I had no intentions on ever hurting anybody. I just wanted to get along. And I'm assuming the whole court thing that was going on was probably needed because, like, I still didn't know. I didn't know until a month ago what my actual diagnosis was, or maybe 2 months ago. I didn't know what that was. So like keeping me away was probably the best thing to be done at that time, because I was still fucking confused about everything going on, and just getting slipped drugs last year at college was just horrible, because that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I ended up sitting in my house for a month and a half in this house here with an eye patch on my right eye, because all I knew about me was that I was born left eye dominant. That's all I fucking knew. And then I sat here with an eye patch on my right eye for fucking 2 months in complete silence, smoking cigarettes and talking to nobody, until I finally decided to go to an eye doctor and figure out, is there something wrong with my eyes? So thank the Lord that I was able to get stuff figured out. Thank God it wasn't just a mental illness. Thank God it was just an eye surgery I needed. But like, at what cost did this all come? And is it ever going to be made up to me? Is the universe going to make this up to me? Because 34 years with some strange eye disease that causes hallucinations and some yellow haze is not a way to go. And there's no reason why doctors shouldn't have caught something before, because my life could have been saved. My family could have been saved. I could have had a better life. I wouldn't have ended up with this criminal record I got. I mean, I don't got any felonies, but like, a lot of bad shit happened in those 16 years that I was fucking stuck in the psychiatric system, because I was arguing with these doctors who were supposed to be able to help, but they didn't. They just hurt, and they hurt, and they hurt. And now everything's messed up, and I have to move on and just ignore it, because I can't sit here and dwell in the past. But I'm hoping that one day everything will be okay, and that I'll look back on it and it'll actually have taught me a very good lesson, and it won't be something that's just a traumatic event in my life. So, I'm sorry. Words can't express how sorry I am. So, all I can do now is go to college, get a doctorate degree, and change psychology in the way they test for schizophrenia and bipolar, which I will fucking do, or I will die trying, because these people need help. Schizophrenia and bipolar are very serious diseases, and if you're going to tell somebody you have it, you need to prove it with a blood test. You need to prove it with a brain scan. You need to prove it, instead of just going, oh, you look like it. Oh, so now you're telling me I look different. Well, maybe it was some other causing factor that caused us to act those ways. How many people are going through this right now? How many people aren't really schizophrenic and aren't really bipolar and are being lied to? And how many lives have been ruined? How many people have died because of this, because they weren't properly diagnosed? When is enough enough? When are we going to stop using criteria to diagnose severe mental illnesses and just prove it with a simple neurotransmitter test? And when am I going to be happy?